christiangeekcentral.com.
Oh yeah, sounds like you guys are talking about discernment and maybe like geek-related content. There's just a lot to sort through. You know, sometimes for a season, I've just taken a break from something that I was like, okay, the Bible does not specifically command against this, and I'm not sure if this is something that I should feel like I can be free in, but if there's any feeling that like I am sinning in doing this, whatever that action is, then I realize, okay, I need to stay away from this for a while. It's a verse in Romans that effectively says that, you know, that nothing's unclean, but if someone thinks something's unclean, then for him it is unclean. And so sometimes there have just been seasons where I've been like, you know, my conscience is not 100% clear with this thing, so I need to step away from this for a while. I need to put this away until I just get a better understanding of it. Okay, what are your thoughts on a Christian going into the gaming industry to be a designer? Is it a sin to be a designer for games such as GTA, Saints Row, etc.? Okay, well, my first gut reaction would be to say, shoot me an email about this so I can give it the thought that it really deserves. I will give you my gut reaction beyond that, but don't quote me. Well, I think there's at least a couple layers to that. First, you have to figure out, is it inherently sinful to play Grand Theft Auto or the Saints Row games? I haven't played the Grand Theft Auto games. I tried and I died, and I was like, nope. I have played Saints Row 2, 3, and 4. I don't think that inherently those games are sinful. I think they can be a minefield for some folks. And there was even some things in those games that was like, you know what? In fact, that was one of the games that I was like, I need to be done with this for a while, because I'm not sure if my conscience can be completely clear while playing this game. But I don't think inherently those games are sinful. So I don't think it's inherently sinful to make them. That said, it's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think, for example, if you're working on a female model in a game, if you're the designer who's designed the model for the female body of a character, and if you think that there's, you know, a good chance that this model is going to objectify women and contribute to them being seen as objects rather than as beautiful reflections and of God, and to be treated with the dignity and respect that a daughter of the king deserves, you know, then maybe there's room for pause there. I think it kind of just depends on the game, but I will say that going into game development does not mean, and I think I can say this safely even as an outsider, because I'm not in the world of game development at all. But just from what I've seen of that world, I think you can go into that world and find success developing games that are not sinful in any way. And you can even go into game development on games that are more abstract, or that the models are more respectful and less objectifying. You know, I think there are a lot of mainstream games out there that are not put out by Christians that are very respectful, and there's nothing sinful about them. So I think there's plenty of room in the game developer industry to do that. But I think similar to going into a world like acting, I have a couple of friends that are they're actors in Hollywood, and they do Sean Anthony Roberts, who does the voice of Salos. He and his wife have both been in a number of TV dramas, you know, CSI and all kinds of stuff that you would be very familiar with, you know. But they've also had to make some choices. One choice that his wife had to make a number of years ago. It's not my story to tell, so I'm not gonna tell it. I'm not gonna give the details on it. But it was a huge hit show. Huge hit show. You would know this show if I said it to you. Huge hit show from 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And she was cast as one of the main characters in a very small ensemble cast. When they were still in pre-production, and they were, I think they'd even started filming the pilot. She was just looking at this material and she was like, I am not comfortable with this material. That it promotes things that I don't want to promote as a believer and a follower of Christ. So she backed out of that. But it hurt her career for a little while, and she's since had a really solid career in guest acting performances, the killer of the week type thing on like a CSI type drama. Both of them have been in a number of roles like that, major guest starring roles. But they've also had to make some choices along the way and said no to things that would have really advanced their career. And so I think that's the kind of decisions that you'll run into. I think you can totally be in the game industry as a believer without compromising. But it will mean potentially compromising the monetary success or the fame level of your career. There'll just be some tough choices to make. But long-winded answer to a much shorter question, is it sinful to pursue being in the gaming industry? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I think that that it is a wonderful thing anytime a believer specifically goes into mainstream creative endeavors. What I'm doing is obviously geared toward believers, but I think there is immense worth in going into the mainstream and just being a believer in that environment. Not trying to push an agenda or anything like that, but just giving people in that world a good experience with a Christian, because those are hard to come by these days. Good experiences with Christians. Maybe they're not as much as we would get that sense from media, but the bad experiences, I think, stay with people and scar them and feed their bitterness so much more than the good experiences that may be much more fleeting to them. So absolutely, I think there's wonderful blessing that could be found in Christians getting involved in creation of mainstream entertainment. I'm not telling you guys. It is not my story to tell. Sorry, Francisco.
christiangeekcentral.com